today, not only do we have the normal group here, we got me, we got Antique Legend, Crunch Time, and No Sleep Adachi. We got a special guest here. We got our boy John, aka Debonair Dandy, here today to join us. Welcome, John. Good to have you on the show.
Hello. Good to be here. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're excited to have you, man. We appreciate you. In fact, we'd like everybody in here to voice how much they appreciate you. Come on, guys.
Welcome. Also, you have won the best tags that I've heard.
Thanks. Oh, I appreciate that. That means a lot.
Yeah.
Second that.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, man. Finally,
You guys are just saying that
get
'cause
you
I'm
on the
gay.
show.
It's appropriate because I'm gay.
Oh wow, coming
This
in.
guy.
Yeah, coming out, shots firing, right?
Coming
Yeah.
out, coming out.
Ooh. We need to get them sound effects going.
Didn't even ring the bell yet.
I know. Didn't even ring the bell yet, and I'm already starting controversial topics.
Ooh, this is a great episode. I'm loving it already.
We'll take the whole show. Take the whole show.
I didn't mean to.
Oh my God, you guys are
I
fucking
can-
good.
I can cross it off my bingo card after this episode, I guess. Be part of cancel culture or get canceled by that.
Uh,
Oh man, that was one of my goals from the beginning, man.
this guy.
I too would like that bingo card. I would like that bingo card.
Yeah, where'd you get that
Oh
from?
man, you got your own bingo card. I think you created your own.
Can we get that in PDF?
Ooh.
Right.
Oh my God. Oh, so let's start things off. Let's talk about what happened last week on Rivals, yo. Very, very heated stuff last week. Came down to the wire between antagonist and anti-karma, but it's pretty good, pretty exciting. I thought. I can't even lie, man. I mean, anti-karma was dominating almost throughout the entire tournament. And I think what antagonist had to come back from losers, if I remember correctly. And man,
Yep.
it was rough.
That's right. Came all the way back from the great win. The whole thing was showing up. Okay.
Optimus
Right.
Prime, everyone.
Yeah, we have technical difficulties here. And are we live? I'm not seeing the channel yet.
Oh, we are. I see it up.
Yep.
Let me.
I'm gonna pull it up too. Yeah. So, but I'll speak to that while Brian's getting his stuff fixed. So I was really disappointed, to be honest, and part of it is because Annie Karma is Steve's gonna kill me because he's if he ever sees this, but like Annie was here he lives in my area, so he doesn't live very far from me at all. And I was I literally watched that last fight and I was like, Steve's not being serious. He's not taking this seriously. I'm like, he's on a work call. Like, there's no way he's playing like this right now. And so I was honestly really shocked by how rough that fight went. Because I felt like first round, like the first set, he was playing Matera, and I felt like I just felt like he got bodied, to be honest. And then the second, and I was like, no, Steve's like playing as Matera because he's kind of like, he wants to download all this. He wants to like figure out what's going on. And then next round, he'll play deal, and then he's gonna like slay it. And then he goes into the next fight, and it's like, it's not that different, like in terms of like as a consumer, as a viewer.
Right.
And I'm like, oh no, Steve, no, don't do me wrong like this. No, I was cheering for you. And I was like, no, could it be true? Maybe he is trying, and like, I don't know. I was really sad. I was really sad. But that's just because I push for Steve. Just because, he's in my area, so of course I gotta represent.
Right.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, because it's kind of, he pulled out his, trying out his new character, and, he was, beating everybody else, and then once it got to grand finals, it's like he had to switch back to Beelzebub, and just didn't work out. It was just like, wow, like, ooh, that was pretty brutal to watch and see, but definitely, it's definitely a learning opportunity, take that. Because you only get better from your losses. So, I mean, if you're just winning, you can't really necessarily learn too much from your wins, but your losses you definitely.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's certainly true, and I think Steve works really hard. Like, to go back to the conversation we were having before the stream happened, like Steve puts in a lot of time into the game.
Yeah.
So it's like, as good as he is, as good as you see him playing on Rivals days, man, like he works really hard. Like, he labs out a bunch of stuff. He's always trying to get games in with people, albeit at like the weirdest hours. Like, we're like, hey, we're running lobbies at 7 p.m. Steve's like 2 a.m. He's like, anybody want to play games? And we're like, you're like late by like 6 hours, bro. Like, we're all on like at 7 p.m. like normal humans, and you're asking for games at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And I get it. Like, we stay up late, but it's like, dude, like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. is like when we're like finishing playing. Like, some people, like not me because I'm an old man, but like some of the other guys, it's like, going to sleep, Steve. Like,
yeah, it's like we're done for tonight.
yeah. But yeah, so he does work hard. So I bet he's gonna, like, the next time he plays against antagonists, I have no doubt that he'll be playing very differently, and that he'll have mapped out a lot of different stuff. So
yeah, and he can go back and watch the footage, and definitely, you pause, analyze each frame by frame, because I don't know if you guys like heard of that, but I think it was Yipes and somebody was talking about like his training, and he was like, yeah, I want you to go find your footage, and we're going to go frame by frame and figure out what you did wrong and what you did right, and what the other guy did wrong and what he did wrong or right, frame by frame, not just play and you look at it for a little bit. No, frame by frame for hours on end. So that's some high level secret tech training there.
Dude, that would be so damning, because like I think about how I play fighting games, and any time that I've like looked at my past footage, like, because if you go frame by frame, then you're talking about like your spacing and like what you decide to like move forward there, and it's like, yeah, like a lot of times you're just like, I don't know, I just kind of like wiggled that direction.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe you shouldn't do that, and you're like, oh shit, like, you know what I mean? Like all sorts of stuff. It's like, why did I use that fireball there? I don't know, I just felt like the right thing to do. And it's like, well, I don't know, it just feels like it would be a very vulnerable thing to go through each of your actions that closely.
Yeah, that like I said, that's that high level. Right.
Yeah, I don't know if I have the patience for stuff like that. I mean, maybe that's why I'm not as good as I could be. I'm just like,
I mean, to be fair, it's like, who does? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, for a lot of us, it's like, this is just a fun thing that we do and a fun thing that we play. But when it's to the point that, like you're trying to build a career off of it, I mean, I think that's what it requires of you probably. And I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Because I mean, even when I was like super, like when I started playing Tekken and I was like super into it, they'd be like, "Oh man, you need to get in practice mode and lab this character," and I'm like, man, I don't want to do that. Like, I'd much rather just play matches with people who play that character specifically, and then just maybe be like, "Hey man, what exactly are the properties on that move? Like, how fast is that move? What should I do after that move?" I think I get more out of that than just sitting down and being like, okay, I'm just going to have them do this move over and over again until I understand what's going on. I'd much rather just get the input from somebody who knows the character, who plays the character regularly. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it.
I think that's like another important thing too, right? Is that like some people learn a lot by just playing together, and some people learn a lot by like training, like by training room stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some people like, obviously, a couple of you guys have probably seen this. Like, Kix is like a lab monster. Like, he wants to be in the lab. He wants to okay, Lance is 2-2-H because everybody hates that shit. It's like, what beats it? What are your options there? Like, could you OS this? Does ZS2H do something against it? Does this do something? And some people want to like lab that one scenario at a time, and some people just want to play it and feel it in context. I think both are important, but I think I think it also is like a learning style thing, you know. I don't know. I'm playing a lot of Uni right now, and I'm actually playing Chaos again.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Back on that Chaos train. And so like Chaos is a puppet character, and there are some things that like one thing I love about Uni is there's a lot that I like to do in training mode by myself, and it's like a really fun training mode game because you're like, I don't know, if I like use Ozzy this way, is he gonna like knock the opponent this way, and like which way does he go? I don't know. Like what can I get off of that? And so, but I think there's a lot now in Uni that it's like I only kind of discover it if I'm playing with people. It's really hard to figure out like how to use Ozzy well by myself, you know, or against like AI. But then I'll take that and I'll be like, oh, okay, like I found out something that Wagner is doing to like mess with Ozzy and like get him out of the field. So I need to like reset and try to find like, so I think there's like a good balance of like stuff that you have to do one-on-one and then stuff that you have to do like by yourself.
Right.
So I think that's what makes fighting games like really, really fun though.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like Units has probably the best training mode, and I feel very spoiled about it, especially with the missions and whatnot, because it actually explains like, hey, this is delayed, or you can delay it if you want, but you can still link it and whatnot, compared to other ones where it's just like, good luck, bud, have a good time.
Yeah, I think that was why I really got into Uni, because it had like a good training mode, and like, because it'll be like, hey, here's like a basic combo, and then you'll be like, hey, here's another basic combo, and then like your brain, and this is really brilliant as a designer. Oh, we're getting real philosophical. Like it's really brilliant as like a game designer is basically they don't tell you, but combos 1 and combos 2 combine. So then you as a player feel really smart for being like, oh, I can put these combos together and make a combo 3 that they never tell you about. But you're like, oh, look, I just found out that I can put these 2 combos together. And so now this becomes your bread and butter, right? This combo 1 plus combo 2 is now your bread and butter. And you discovered it as a player. So that feels very rewarding for you. And that keeps you in the game, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Uni is brilliant for that. There's a lot of translation problems, but
yeah.
Because every now and then you're like their explanation of things and you're like, what?
Oh, wow.
It's so endearingly Japanese. I love it.
But it's so endearingly satisfying. So satisfying to play.
Yeah. It just has random shit like next to every character. It's like jostles in the wind, bread baking in the sunset. Like, and you're like, only a Japanese game has flavor text that doesn't make any fucking sense like this. Like, green leaves and a summer breeze, a brilliant sword, and a lost soul. You're like, what?
Wow.
You know what's funny?
Very descriptive.
You know what's funny? You guys were talking about like doing stuff in training mode. The funny thing is, I actually came face to face with that for the first time, where I was like, you know what? This is actually a game where I feel like I'm learning a lot in training mode. Was in I mean, it was a game I didn't even expect to play again ever in my entire life. Was a Blaze Blue tag battle, cross tag.
Yes.
Oh, really?
I can agree with that.
I've actually never played BB Tag, and I've never, obviously, so I haven't played their training mode. So what did you take away from it, or what did you feel like was valuable about it?
Well, so I mean, No Sleep Adachi knows about this. Like the 2 characters I love to play with, like my main team is Adachi Teru and Hazama.
Hey, sorry.
and Hazama?
Yeah, from
Okay, I'm familiar with Hazama, but oh shit, Adachi, that bitch from Persona 4.
Oh, I feel attacked.
Shots fired.
Oh, man.
We don't have enough time for that.
I'm sorry I cursed so much.
That's another show.
It should be about all my cursing. I don't know why I'm cursing so much. I'm sorry.
Oof.
Ooh.
Oh
Man.
my gosh. Yeah.
Ooh.
He's a mean
I can't.
person.
Ooh.
It's going in the diary.
in the
John
coffee.
said Adachi's a bastard. I did not like that.
He's a not nice person.
Oh, man.
Oh man.
Hey, he's falsely accused. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Is
my
he
gosh.
though? Is
Oh, wow.
Look, man.
we're talking like JRPG meta now. Just
Yeah,
Don't
when we
move
kind of
on.
are.
Oh, man.
We're moving into murky
Oh,
territory.
damage control. Backtracking now.
But no, I do agree. He is a bastard, but he's my favorite bastard out of like
Oh, he's great.
any villain out there.
He's great.
He's
yeah.
just too damn good. He's top tier. So, anyways, that's Adachi for you guys.
Yeah, before I continue with my little spiel here, I want to take some time to recognize the people we got in chat. We got Fight Sessions, we got Octavian from We Are OCF, and we got our boy Sonny Rash from Collisions in chat as well. What is going on?
Yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome, dudes.
Shit.
I am a potty mouth. I'm sorry, Britton. Yeah, Stony Brash is in here. Hi, Octavian.
So
Get that chat popping.
Yeah, I know.
the deal
I'm
is I was playing a while ago, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. You know, I mean, no, Dachi will tell you, like, I was constantly complaining about that game. I mean, I was just like, bro, I don't like what they did to Hazama. Adachi, I mean, let's be honest, Adachi's almost the same as he was in, like, the Persona games.
Yeah, I think he's missing like maybe one or two things, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's like, but he's still pretty good. Like, the only issue is like, his that one where like Magatsu Izanagi comes from the sky. That costs meter now, which I mean, is fair because that's a pretty good move. That is a real good move. Like, it just kind of like, boom, and there he is. So
Yeah.
anyway, I was in training mode, and I'm just going through the motions. I'm just like, all right, doing this, doing that, and then it's like, okay, wait a minute. I'm not using my whatchamacallits. I'm not in matches. I've played this with other guys named Vex, and in matches, I'm not using my assists. I never use them. So I'm like, all right, let me use my assist. I'm like, oh, okay. So Adachi does the assist where he comes and he kicks you. I'm like, all right, that's cool. All right, hold on a sec. So I can also do the thing with Hazama. So I knock him into the air, and then I pull him out of the air, and they fly into the wall. And then I do the assist where Adachi knocks him into the air, and then I jump back up with Hazama, and then I slice him a bunch, and then I knock him back onto the ground. I'm like, wait a minute. I think I'm onto something here. And then, like, yeah, you know, it's like
Playing Marvel. You playing Marvel, baby?
That's what it feels like. It's nice.
But that's what's so rewarding about like these harder skill cap games, or these harder skill floor games rather, are like, they suck because you have to work so damn hard to get good at them. But like, once you start to figure out a couple of things, it feels so rewarding because you're like, oh, like, I think I can bounce you this way and then do this and then kind of like do this, and then I think that would be like a cool surprise for like my opponent and that sort of thing. Which, you know, like, if you know, and this is probably like, you can take this and go controversial on it, but like, in some ways I don't lab that much in Grand Blue because I just don't feel like that's as rewarding for me, because I'm not really looking for those interactions in Grand Blue, right? Like, I'm not looking for like, especially not as Percy. Like, I think Percy doesn't have nearly as many like interesting wall bounce mechanics as much as some other characters.
I feel that.
But it's like, I'd rather figure that out in game than like, you know, like as Chaos, where it's like, oh, like, I can put the dragon behind you and then bounce him my way, and then after that hit you again, and like, oh, what do I get from that? Like, you know, it's interesting how that works. But I'm sorry, I feel like I've been like, I'm carrying these conversations everywhere. So when I don't have an agenda, what happens? That's why y'all like,
I'm soaking
y'all
it
like
in.
interact with me. I have like an agenda. It's like, it's not because I'm that kind of person. It's because otherwise I'm this kind of person where I'm like, I don't know, let's go somewhere else. Let's talk about something else.
Right. No, I'm soaking it in, man. Soaking it in.
Yeah, man.
But no, actually, with the whole training thing, I found like in my personal experience with training is like going to a more, like, let's say you're playing a game that is, you know, maybe like for instance, like either like a Street Fighter game or like a Grand Blue game, and then you take a break from those type of games and you go to a harder game and you play that for a very long time, and then you go back to that other game, and it seems like that other game that was a little is easier now. It's easier to play that game. Like, I'll take a break from just regular fighters and like go to Marvel, like a Marvel type game, and just really get into it, play it for like weeks, months on end, and then remember, oh yeah, I was really into Street Fighter or Grand Blue or something like that.
Mhm.
Go back to that game, and it's way easier. So I don't know if you guys have ever experienced something like that before.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, this is to like a kind of a lesser degree, I guess, but when I was younger, one thing I had problems with doing motion inputs because like I mostly played Tekken, and I couldn't motion inputs. Like I was playing like King of Fighters, not even King, but Guilty Gear and like Street Fighter and stuff. And I'm like, man, I'm tired to do these motion inputs. And one motion input I could not do to save my life was quarter circle back. Quarter circle back, I could not do. I was just like, I can't do it. I can't do quarter circle back. And until I played King of Fighters 2003, because they had what was it? It was a quarter circle back motion with Ryuji Yamazaki, who was my favorite King of Fighters character, like ever. And I think it was like the thing where he hangs his arm down and then he kind of like smacks you in the face. I was like,
I do.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
He's weird. Yeah.
He's such a badass character. So like,
Yeah.
it's like boom. Like I'm like, oh my god, I can do quarter circle back motions. And then I went right back to Guilty Gear, and I could do Johnny's Mist Finer, and I could do the Tatsumaki Senpuken in Street Fighter. Oh my god, it was so good. I was so proud of myself. Oh god.
I feel you. I got a story like that too, man. Like growing up, playing like Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat 1, going over to my cousin's house, and I was getting into those games, and they could do the special moves, and I could never do the special moves. Even my younger cousin, because we were trying to learn those games, we could never do the special moves. We would always lose. I mean, every time we played those games against our cousins, they would just beat us. And then one day, when I finally got my own like console, which was back in Sega Saturn days, they had Street Fighter Alpha. Started playing that. I got into training mode, forced myself to learn how to do fireballs, uppercuts, all special moves. I learned how to do those moves. And then I went back to like Street Fighter 2 because they released, they re-released those games on the, newer system. So I went in those games, mastered all the special moves, learned some combos. And it was like years had went by. And the next time, I was hoping my younger cousin, learned too. And then the next time we played our, cousins that were like around my age, I straight demolished them.
Yeah, right.
I beat them so bad. They were like, we're not playing this again with you. You just took it to a whole new level. And it's like, it takes that type of dedication, man. 'Cause I was determined. I was like, you know what? When we play again, I'm not losing. And they would never tell us like how to do the special moves. We'd always be like, how'd you do the Sonic Boom? How'd you do the Fireball? They would never tell us. So, yeah. Right, exactly.
I think and I think that's what makes fighting games rewarding, is because what you guys are basically saying is it's like, again, like your competence as a player like grew, and so you became better at the genre, right? And so I think that's what's really cool about fighting games, is that it's like getting better at Guilty Gear will end up making you better at Street Fighter, will end up making you better at Them's Fighting Herds or Skullgirls or whatever else. Like you carry all of these things moving forward in the genre, so it feels like this really rewarding skill. Like, so for me, it was, to speak to what you were saying, Chris, it's like I went from Uni then to Grand Blue, and now I'm playing Uni again. Not that I ever put them down at any point, but that that's just kind of like what I've kind of focused on for a bit. And so it's really funny because when I was playing Uni, I was like, that was kind of how I got my bearings as an older adult and getting like into fighting games. I was playing Phonon, and then I went into Grand Blue, which is a lot slower. So then I learned more about like neutral and foundations and fundamentals, and I played Percy, I do play Percy, who is very like conditioning focused, fundamentals focused. Like he's very like very honest kind of player. So I went back to Uni and I was like, I don't think I really like Phonon, and that's why I've been learning Chaos, because it's like you've gotten better at the game for yourself. Like, so now you approach the game, not like fighting games, but like a specific game really differently because of that, and then, and that led to, I've played Them's Fighting Herds now. And so when I played Them's Fighting Herds, like there was like this combo with like a double jump, and I was like, oh, that sounds really hard. And then I tried it and I was like, oh, okay, like I got it, because I was thinking of like the John from like 6 months ago who was like, I don't know if I can do these like combos, and I don't know if I can get into combos. And now you're looking at it and you're like, oh, okay, it's like you just want me to pitch BC over and over again. It's like, okay, I can do that. Like that's very
Yeah.
like, I can do that.
Nice.
And so I think it's cool to be playing a video game where the skills transfer into the next one. I think the same with Go shooters. I don't think the same can necessarily be said of like MOBAs and RTSs necessarily, because I think you have to learn like the strategic system behind the game.
Right.
I think you have the same competence with mouse and keyboard, but it's not quite to the same. The competency that you can reach as like a fighting game player is very different than like your competency. Like a great League of Legends player does not always know. Well, actually, there is a little bit of transfer there to like a good Dota 2 player, but like, I don't know. I still think that like, yeah, fighting games are like your skill gets better in one game, that transfers to the next very, very easily. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
So-
I can agree with that for the most part, especially on the transfer part. The only thing that would change between MOBAs, honestly, is item build for the most part.
Correct. Yeah.
So you can figure out like, they'll be, I guess, semi-clone of characters or characters that maybe resemble the one that you main in, say like League, and it transfers over to Dota, whichever one's like that. Like, I guess kind of like Drow Ranger and I guess Ashe from League.
Yes.
Very similar characters, but
Right.
the only difference from there on is getting down the last hit denying minions, and as well as getting down the build and kind of the pacing of
Right.
how am I gonna deal with that character.
Yeah. Strategy of the game, like how does
Yeah.
like leveling pace is a little different. But I mean, you might say this. I totally agree, because you might say the same for like, yeah, Uni and Guilty Gear have the same speed. Uni, you have to worry about a grid. Like you have to worry about grid. Like Guilty Gear, you don't have to worry about grid. You worry about like whatever bursts and roaming cancels. Like I don't really know Guilty Gear that well, but you know what I mean. It's like, yeah, like same game, different system. So you have to learn the system a little bit, but it's like the skills transfer, if you will.
Yeah.
So
Right.
God,
No, that
thank
makes
you for the
sense.
animated in my hands. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with you. Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like what you said about like kind of going back to other games that kind of like what you said, like doing a combo that used to look intimidating, kind of look at it now because you've kind of broken it down because of other games. Like, oh, okay, this is a lot more simple than I thought. The best I could say for that is after playing Uni and playing with Gordo, and then kind of like jumping between other games like Blaze Blue, playing Easily, and then kind of looking back, I'm sure I could probably knock out most of because I'm also a King of Fighters fan. I love King of Fighters. Don't quite
Yeah.
like what they did with
Yeah.
14. I missed 13. 13 was absolutely amazing. There was one very intimidating combo that Benny Maru had, and looking back, I was like, "There's no way in hell I could do this." Like going back and looking at it now, I kind of looking, I was like, "I can do this. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
I can in an hour."
Yeah, exactly. And that's like a really cool thing, because it's like once you get past that barrier, I think it really opens up the genre for you a lot, and your sense of player expression, because it's like, yeah, like after learning more Grand Blue, after learning more about fighting games in general, I wasn't as intimidated by chaos, and having the puppet and that sort of thing, and what that means for like neutral, because it's like I didn't have an understanding enough about neutral to understand what chaos's options open up for you as a player
Yeah.
when you have a puppet character, like so you can't really like enjoy what that means as a player. But anyways, sorry, tangents. I don't know what our actual agenda is, so it'll all come back to chaos for me right now. I'm like, oh, puppet characters.
There is order in chaos, man.
Right.
Let's. I'm gonna go take another second to acknowledge some of the other people we have jumping in chat today. We got Daxter, we got my boy Kix,
Oh, Dax is here.
and we got
Oh, nice.
we got the unparalleled Bop, who's one of my viewers from the Amazing Experience. Very interesting,
Nice,
very interesting
nice.
person. Yeah, I love the unparalleled Bop. Glad to have y'all all here today. We're talking about we're basically going down the rabbit hole of transferring skills to different fighting games. And speaking of transferring skills to different fighting games, John, we wanted to get your take on them fighting herds. Like, give us the lowdown.
Yes. What is this game?
You didn't talk about it. Like, I'm like, we've been talking about. So this is for the chat. Everyone has been talking about this like as if I'm like some expert on it, but I'm not. I have no idea what this game does. So, but
He's the
I
expert.
don't know anything about this
Don't
game.
listen to
I
him.
got bodied over and over again the other day.
He was playing it earlier.
Brian
And Transformers.
But,
I think your headset might be going out, man.
Brian.
Bro, don't.
Yeah.
Did you unplug your stuff?
Did you-
What's going on, man?
I mean,
Is it
yo, my
echoing?
I kind of understand you, but it's just like, yeah, it's robotic.
It's like echoing and cutting out for some reason.
Yeah, kind of like that. If it's USB, try another USB port would be my recommendation.
Or if you're really ambitious, you might want to try a headset from this decade or something like that, maybe.
Hey man,
Hey, that's a HyperX,
you gotta
man.
go. You gotta go. Ooh. You gotta talk about You gotta get those. You gotta get the mic, man. You gotta go old school. Get you a microphone.
Oh yeah, get a straight mic.
Get you an old school mic.
Oh.
Actually,
Yeah.
No,
Gotta
I
turn
actually-
off auto tune.
I actually want one, man.
Yeah.
no, I feel like I think his audio source for input might have got changed over actually, because when we were talking a second ago, it was still roboting. So if you have another microphone or whatever, it might be going based off of that.
Like
Yeah.
in the wrong.
So like, say if you had a web camera that has a camera on it, but for whatever reason, audio sources got changed over, like for input. Well, you could have your headset plugged in, and have like output for sound and whatnot. Doesn't necessarily mean that or like a
I want
no
one of
bar-
those.
Those are
I
great.
need one of those.
So while everything could be coming out through the headset, the microphone isn't picking up from right there, but rather the web camera is the only thing that comes to mind on that one, which could also be it.
Okay.
Wow.
Sorry, that was my old job talking.
No, you're good, man.
No, you
You good, man? You good?
Maybe you can
Oh,
help
man,
on
how I miss it
lunchtime,
sometimes.
troubleshoot a little bit.
Yeah, you might need to go into his settings. See if anything got switched around.
Okay, so well, while he's doing that, do you guys want to keep talking about them fighting
Yeah.
her?
Oh,
what's the,
Yeah.
Tell me
what's
more.
So we need the story. What's this game about? How did everything? The 411 on it.
The long and short of it, let me tell you just how weeb I am. Like, I was watching like a YouTube video of like just general fighting games, and it's like showing like a montage of fighting games in this YouTube video, and I see the most elegant looking deer, like literal deer, DEER.
Mhm.
I'm not just saying weird things like debonair dandy. And she's got like snow powers, and I'm like, what is this game? I was like, I want to play as a deer who's like condescending and has snow powers.
Mhm.
And so I look it up, and I probably looked up something like deer snow powers FGC, and I found them fighting herds. Looked into it, so it turns out it was basically started as like a My Little Pony fighting game, and then eventually like, I'm giving like the super rough summary. You can everybody go to Hold Back to Blocks documentary about it. It's it's a very cool watch. It's very but yeah, there's a lot of bronyism happening. But if you watch it, these guys talk a lot about like why they liked My Little Pony, why they built a fighting game off of it, and all of this stuff. So they started building it off of like essentially like a fighting game maker engine, and it was really pretty bad, and it took X number of years to build. They got a cease and desist from Hasbro, I believe, and then after that, the primary artist and like creator of My Little Pony like got in touch with them and was basically like, I felt really bad for them. So I asked them like, hey, would it be cool if I just made some art for you guys and like made some individual art for you guys? And so in some ways, the appeal of the game to me was actually kind of that story of like these people that like came together, had a love for this IP, built a fighting game off of it, and then like the creator was like, hey, like you tried really hard, let me help you out. And so, you know, they built this fighting game. It's great. It feels like an anime game. It's weird because I feel like so this is speaking more as a player, less as a consumer now, or like a viewer. To kind of give you guys more, like for everything else, you should go to Hold Back to Block's documentary. That thing has so much good history on it. But like this is as a player, it feels for one, it actually kind of does feel weird because you're using like a 4-legged creature, so the hitboxes are kind of, you don't realize it until maybe like you've put in a couple of hours and you're like, oh, this feels weird. It's weird for your hitbox to be like, because essentially like, right, like if you've got a hitbox or somebody's hurt box, sorry, my bad. Somebody's hurt box is like this. In them fighting herds, their hurt box is literally like this, but your actions are kind of different. So it's just kind of it's a little wonky to deal with after a while. You're like, oh, like that makes sense. I shouldn't have hit you because I didn't hit your face. Like I hit the like right above your butt. Like I guess I don't know. But the game itself, it in some ways it has a great tutorial. It's very, very user friendly in that regard, and it's very easy to learn. That said, you have all these like anime monsters already on it who have like labbed out 32 hit combos, and you're like, God damn, like I just started the game, like, and I'm over here like doing the basic combo that they teach you, which is basically like ABC launcher ABC. So it's like it's a very accessible game, and there's a lot of cool stuff you can do within it. The same way that we've been talking about like uni and that sort of thing, and like what the stuff that you can do in training mode. So it's like a very rewarding game in that regard. But it's anime-esque, so it's tough. Like there's a lot of physics in the game, and that means that a lot of people are exploiting the physics of the game to like really ruin you. Like I saw something that looked like there's this one character who does like a ground pound. So as long as you're on the ground, if you're not blocking, I think she just ground pounds you like from like a pretty far distance. And I think she just like ground pounded like over and over again. And somebody was like, it looked like an infinite, and I was like, holy crap! Like,
wow.
So it's just, I think in that regard, it can come across a little overwhelming. But maybe that's just me being overwhelmed by by physics-based games where like people just bounce you for like, you know, for half of your fight. So
right.
Jeez.
You know, like you're coming into the game, it's like your first time, you're like, all right, I think I'm ready, I'll have like a good 7-hit B&B, and then like somebody like juggles you for like 30 seconds and you're like, mom said put me down.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a stolen line, by the way. That's credit goes to Venom Buster for that line. So
Nice.
To me,
I
it kind of
like
sounds like playing the freaking Yu-Gi-Oh card game. You get turn one.
Oof.
What happens
Yeah.
too often than you think.
Yeah.
But don't remind me.
Or have someone take a 32-step turn one. It's like, well, I'll go get a drink while you carry out your turn.
exactly, yeah, it's like
yeah.
like I get it, but then it's like you as the opposing player are like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So, John, what do you think about them fighting herds being like part of the main stage for Evo Online this year?
Oh, I love it. I think I'm actually really glad that they did what they did to basically, because I think I don't know. I think it's actually very it's a bit of an upset, right? Like,
Yeah.
like you have all these like really primetime games, and they just got upstaged by all these like small to medium sized games with really good, strong fan bases.
Yeah.
I think, or semi-loyal fan bases, some of them. And to see it get the upset kind of calls out the problem that we have stateside with delay-based net, you know. And so, and Japan can do what it wants with that information, you know. It's like, hey, it's up to you. You do what you want. Like, just, you know, just as much as you made us deal with your delay-based netcode, we're just saying like, hey, we can't have an online tournament with it. So
yeah,
you can't have your games in it, you know, for something as
Mhm.
prestigious as Evo. So I think it's fantastic. I think it's definitely very democratizing for like the atmosphere of fighting games right now. I think it's great for developers because then I think developers feel encouraged. Well, like anybody who's working on fighting games independently can feel encouraged by that. And then yeah, I think it kind of calls out a lot of those these companies that have basically been like, hey, we're just going to run play-based netcode, which they have the right to do. I have no problem with it, honestly. Like, I'm like, whatever, you want to do what you were going to do, and we're going to keep buying it. So yeah, I get it. But yeah, so but yeah, I think it's fantastic. I think it's great, and I think all of these games like deserve it. So
Yeah. That's, anyone else?
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. But yeah.
This is really good for the show. See, even though they are small games and he plays games, you know, I think he does get the exposure.
Yeah, I think we're getting something.
For the AI, the KI community, it's really good because I know that a lot of people have been looking forward to that being back in again. For the MKLO community, I mean, they definitely should have the highest numbers.
Speaking in binary.
I think I got
I
most of what Brian
I
said.
was trying to listen to it.
He
I think I got
said,
most of it. I think he's just saying that the KI community really like deserved it, especially with how big the KI community is, as well as MK11. I think.
Yeah, I was saying, can you hear me?
no.
We can like
It-
hear you, but
Yeah,
it's,
we can kind of hear you,
It's
but
in
it's,
bits and pieces.
yeah, man.
you should like type it.
Yeah.
But I definitely.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, he's got to check your settings, man.
Switch from dial-up.
Oh, calm down.
Doo-doo-doo-doo.
We ain't doing this today. We're not doing this today. But anyway, yeah. Hey, just check your settings, man. Some just got switched around. That's all.
That was the guess I made. What's it called? Real quick, just go into Discord user settings, bottom left corner. Go to voice and video and see what your output device is. Is it default or is it listed as something else?
Dax actually thinks he has a loose cable, which in my experience with audio, that's what it sounds like.
Check all your cables too. Check all your cables.
Because my first guess was either settings or port.
I mean, if it comes down to it, you could just like probably set your microphone to like you're using a laptop, right? So you might have like a inline.
Oh, that's true. His camera is very good. Yeah. Sorry, I'm reading Dax's comments here in the chat.
Yeah, camera's good. Video's good.
Yeah.
Just
so
the audio.
It's not the internet then. So. Oh boy. Sorry. it's kind of funny to watch. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh. It's very.
Yeah, we forgot to do a proper sound check.
Oh my gosh.
Sure, we'll get it situated.
I know it doesn't have it. Like I talked to Brian on the phone yesterday, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's got to be like when he plugs his headset in, as far as either Discord or like on his actual like computer audio settings. So it's got to be a misstep.
It's still choppy.
Because what is it supposed to be on? Like, hold on, let me look at mine. Because he should have it on speakers. Speakers is the microphone. Oh wait, no. Speakers is the headphone. Microphone, of course, is the mouthpiece. So that should be set. Everything else should be like default, right?
It's normal to handle.
Almost sounded a little bit better.
For some
No.
reason, it's still cutting out. Why would it be cutting out?
Did you try a different USB port? It's like could make that out easily. Yeah. Yeah, maybe the mic.
That's why I never liked like USB. Always like just the 3.5.
I
Just makes
personally
it a lot
prefer.
easier.
I personally prefer USB over 3.5. Honestly.
I can agree with that.
Eh.
Maybe not.
Hello?
I don't think it's the Discord settings.
That's just something I always like to check to make sure because I know my audio it gets moved around a lot. So
It's got to be you got to check your audio settings on your computer. Oh wow, Dax says USB does wear fast.
whereas
Really?
faster, which is yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that
I didn't
either.
know that either.
I
Is
didn't
that
know
like
USB were faster.
any USB or just for like headphones? That would not be good.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, I bought my mom a mouse a while ago, and I mean it was a good mouse. It was a really good mouse. It had all the bells and whistles. It's one of those trackball mouses and everything. Had a bunch of buttons on it. And one day, because it was a wireless one with the dongle and everything like that. It's a funny word, isn't it? A dongle. Anyway, she pulled out the dongle and she pulled it out, and half the dongle stayed in the computer.
Whoa!
Whoa! Oh man,
Yeah,
That's
Oh.
yeah,
that is definitely a no-go.
Never happened to me. Wow.
yeah.
Jeez.
Funny thing is, if you put the dongle back into reconnected it with the thing, it worked. But it just wasn't like you had to get like pliers or something to pull it out so you could put it into something
Oh
else.
boy.
Oh.
I don't like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the design of it is bad, but it works. But it's just the design was bad. Wow.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, but it's still pretty spotty, man.
was that the camera from your laptop? I mean,
He's on a desktop.
or a microphone. Yeah, we can't hear you now.
And I can't decide if that's better or worse than the pixelated voice.
Oh boy.
Oh man, I need to reset all his stuff or something. I don't know. Okay,
I think he said that he'll be back. Oh, okay. Yeah.
but yeah, I guess we can kind of continue for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got like 5 minutes left, fellas. I gotta get going in a sec. I have to work. So.
But what I was going to say is kind of what I was talking about earlier too, is it's kind of a Cinderella story with them fighting Hertz because of how they basically the reason that they're a thing is because of Skullgirls. Skullgirls, they helped them out a lot. They actually I don't know if anybody knows this, but they asked to use their game engine. And Skullgirls was like, sure, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, because I was watching Ultra Chan the other day or yesterday, and they had one of the main programmers just interviewing him about Skullgirls, and he was just talking about their story of how they, came about. Like you were saying, John, where, it was just, it wasn't even called Skullgirls. It was like something magic or something like that. Fighting magic, and how they got the cease and desist, and then Hasbro finally was like, okay, we'll help you, and they started making the game, and the rest is history. But yeah, they owe it all to pretty much Skullgirls, and so when they asked him about, how do you feel about being at Evo when they got the announcement? Because I guess he's kind of lowered, not like as in his skill, but just like his position in the company. Once the word got to his group, he was like, "Hey, did Skullgirls make it?" Because he was giving props to them because
Yeah.
they're the reason that they were there, and they were like, "Yeah, Skullgirls is in." So he's like, "Cool, I'm happy if they're a part of it as well." So yeah, it's definitely a Cinderella story for them.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. I had forgotten about that component of Skullgirls contributing to that. That's really cool.
Yeah. So I'm definitely interested in seeing, seeing the game, great gameplay, and just seeing how, their fans and the audience react to them being at Evo. So.
I mean, on their part, I think it's like you couldn't ask for something better for your game on release, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like a fighting game, like because it was in, it was in like beta or whatever, like early access. That's the word. Prior to this, and I got it while it was on early access, and then they released in like March. Probably, in your mind, you're not thinking at all about like, prior to this, you're like, okay, we're gonna release, and then we'll just get what we get, and not thinking that on Evo main stage, and it's like, oh, all of a sudden, Evo's entirely online. You chose to invest your time into robot netcode, and that just happens to be what people deem as optimal netcode for your game. And so it's like, yeah, you couldn't ask for something better for your game if you were the developers. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of the way I see it with these different games that aren't so, I guess, as popular as like the main stage games. It kind of puts Capcom and Bandai and all the other games that are on the main stage. It kind of puts them in check as far as in the current situation that we're in. Maybe they should actually take another look at their net code and take a look at it, and improve it, make it better for another situation like this, because think that the FGC is going to have some type of online movement for the way the world is. And yeah, we will probably get back to being in person, but like I was saying, it's not going to be the exact same. And so they're going to need to have some type of online events just in case. So, if I was any of these companies, Evo's like, yeah, we can't use your game. That would be a huge reality check.
Yeah,
it's like,
absolutely.
It's just, how can you ignore that? So,
I have no doubt that that's a conversation that's happening, like right now among all of those people and all of those companies. Of like, is this worth the adjustment? Why are these games getting highlighted and we're not? I think that's absolutely going to be a conversation that's had. So,
right.
But I gotta let you guys go. I'm sorry. I wish I could chat for longer, but I've got to get ready for work. I have to go teach children how to dance.
Nice,
Hey, man,
nice. No, that sounds fun. Hey, do your thing, man.
Does it? Yeah. Does it sound fun?
It does. I like dancing.
It has
Hey, John, do you teach adults how to dance too, or just kids?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I was wondering, like, if you could, like, if you were doing adults dancing classes, I would like to do that too. Man. If you were ever teaching a class, I could. I'm dead serious.
I'm gonna do like an FGC fighting dance class, and it's only gonna be like Hatsune Miku. So moves. Cakes. Yeah, dance online, red wine and dancing class. I'm gonna recommend a red wine to everyone, and then I'm gonna teach everyone how to dance to Hatsune Miku.
Nice.
So
that would be dope. That would be dope. Quick announcement. I am going to try my best, and hopefully if they do PS4, but I will be entering Skullgirls. Yeah. So
very exciting.
So
cool.
Definitely try to represent our group at Evo. So yeah.
I'll be representing.
So if anybody has played it, What's up?
So I'll be representing from the comment section in those flame wars. Don't worry.
Alright. But if anybody has any advanced experience in that game, hit me up because I'm gonna need to try to learn as much as I can. So yeah.
Sweet, that's awesome, man. That's
Yo,
very,
play
very
Squid
cool.
Game, bro.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. I'll catch you guys later. Adios.
All right.
Thanks
Hey,
for having
John.
me on.
Thanks for being here.
John,
Hey, have a great rest of your day, bro.
Dandy.
All right, peace out, guys.
Peace, man.
Later.
All right. Oh man.
Yep.
Oh, speaking of tournaments, like I want to let everybody know that we got our boy Fight Sessions actually has like some tournaments going on. There's one tonight, I think, at 6 p.m. Central Time. Like
Okay.
it's a Killer Instinct tournament at 6 p.m. Central Time. Then also tomorrow there's a Soul Calibur tournament on PC going on at same time tomorrow at 6 p.m. I think there and also a Tekken 7 tournament going on the 24th. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh yeah, get the information so we can watch and support him
Yeah.
if he's playing.
Yeah, like I think he's actually doing them, like hosting them. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's the is because Killer Instinct, that's cross-play, right?
yes, it is. It is crossplay. Yes.
I might do it. Hey, put the info on Discord or something. I might mess with it. I might mess with it because I have it on Xbox.
Alright. Wow, there are two spots left. 2 spots left. Can you imagine that?
Wait, what?
You just said there are 2 spots left.
Oh man,
Can you guys hear me?
Catch the next one.
Oh, we can hear you now.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right.
What'd you do?
I switched out the different inputs, and it was some setting flaw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, can
Glad you got it situated.
Yeah,
You
Fight
hear that,
Sessions-
guys?
Yeah, we can.
I was
actually
You say
do
what?
that.
What'd you say, Brian?
I said, you hear that, guys? I was right.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
Brian.
he called it.
Appreciate it.
Oh, P5R Tay Takemi. Hey, that's cool, man, but it's all about that Kawakami.
Nah, man. Tay is Bay, bro.
Hey, Kawamami all day, every
Tay
day.
is Bay, bro. Yo, Fight Sessions.
He is a good choice, though. At least it's not Makoto.
Yo, Fight Sessions. If you can put all the links in chat, like that would be really cool. Like for basically,
Is it?
huh?
Is the Nightbot gonna stop him?
I don't think so. It's like a hook nut.
Put it in Discord if you can as well.
Let's see.
So I know once this closes, the chat won't be.
Nah. Like if you
Yeah.
put the links in, it'll be all right. Yeah, only if you're allowing me. Yeah, of course. Go ahead, throw them up there because I turned off all that stuff a while ago. I turned it off because we were having people are trying to stay hype in the chat, so it was cutting off cats, so I had to turn that off. Then people are trying to post links for their stuff, and it was blocking that, so I had to turn that off. It's like there's too much stuff being like turned off, like blocked when like that really feeds into like the community. I'm just like, you gotta turn it. Basically everything's off except for maybe like the white listing, I think. White list, black list.
Yeah.
Mm.
For Nightbot?
Yeah, for Nightbot, yeah.
Yeah, I hate Nightbot for that reason. It's... Oof.
Send it to you on Instagram and here. Is that okay? Yeah, please do.